was about to do it. Usually doesn't. It doesn't show you on that screen, do you? No, it doesn't. Hello, beautiful day at 7/7 Lodge. We're starting a new thing with our cooking demos today, where our bi-weekly cooking demos are going to be showcasing an item that we're having on weekly special for the week. So this week we have Tuna Katsu. It's $24. You'll be able to get it all week, but this is going to give you a preview of how it's made, and then again, you can try it at home, or you can come down to the restaurant and try it out. So we'll turn it over to Chef Dino and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Just like Doug had mentioned, we are featuring our weekly special now. So for this week, we will have on the menu Tuna Katsu, which is traditionally deep fried or pan fried, and it has a panko breadcrumb crust on it. So we're gonna do it up a little bit. We're gonna use a little bit more Japanese ingredients than that. So first and foremost, we have our pan going, our little saucepan, because we are going to make our pickled ginger sauce. So let me go ahead and get that started real quickly here. We have sesame oil that's going to go in here. So this saucepan is fairly hot. So we just want to do about a tablespoon of sesame oil here. This is a really good brand of sesame oil. It's toasted. So make sure you try and get the toasted sesame oil. Put that over there. So we have that going in here. We are going to add, let me put some gloves on real quick here. We are going to add our shaved ginger and paper thin sliced shallots. So we're going to go about 2 ounces of shallots. We're making enough sauce for the restaurant, but it's just going through the ingredients with you guys. So we have our shallots in there and our shaved ginger, about 2 ounces of each. Okay, just to show you guys, the ginger, after you peel it, you're just going to use a peeler again, and you can literally use the peeler to shave the ginger off of there, like so. Just be careful if your peeler is really sharp, you can get cuts from the peeler. But so that's pretty much it, just kind of showing you guys using the peeler, just shaving off the ginger here. It comes off real nice. It does get a little bit harder as it gets smaller, but for right now, we're getting some really nice pieces there. So we're going to add that. So we're just getting a quick sear. So we have fresh shaved ginger and shallots, a little tablespoon of sesame oil. We're just going to get a fairly quick sear on there. Just to create a little bit more flavor, we're going to caramelize that a little bit. Okay. We have our high heat spatula here that we're just going to stir it with. So we're not looking for like a dark deep brown, just want to initially get that quick caramelization there from the hot saucepan there. And then I'm going to go through some ingredients while we are waiting for that. We have aji mirin, which is a Japanese wine, Japanese cooking wine. Of course, you can use normal white wine if you do not have this. You know, perhaps, or perhaps you can go to a store and get it. But this is how it looks like. It's a sweet cooking rice wine. We have that. We have tamari, which is a gluten-free soy. We just like to use the flavor of the tamari. Regular soy sauce or the low-sodium soy will work as well. And then we have rice vinegar, unseasoned rice vinegar, natural. Okay. And then we have, this is our Raji mirror, and I measured out 2 cups there. We have some whole butter, probably about 2 ounces of weight of whole butter. We have horseradish, grated horseradish. Okay, so we have a little bit of color going on here. We are going to add, let's do 1 cup of vinegar. Put that down a little bit. Try not to breathe that vinegar in. It's gonna mess with your throat a little bit there. Pretty intense. Okay. Now you can skip this step if you're just gonna buy ginger that's already pickled in a jar. If you do that instead of doing the vinegar part here, try and get the one that does not have any food coloring on it, like a natural. So if it's like red, then chances are it has a little bit of food coloring. So, but this is the best way to go, is using your own vinegar and ginger to pickle that. We're going to reduce. So we have it on medium high. It's fairly high, just kind of get that simmering going. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on our frying pan. This is going to be our frying pan. We're going to fry the katsu in here. I'm going to turn it on super low just to kind of get it a little bit warm there. We're not looking to go on it yet. We're going to go a little low there. Okay. And next step we have is we're going to wrap the tuna. This is going to be the fun part here. We have our roasted nori sheet. You can use a half of one, or you can use a whole one. It really depends on how big the tuna is. For this one, I'm going to use a whole one. So for sushi, you usually use the shiny side on the outside, but you're not really going to see that, so it doesn't really matter at this point. As far as which you use the shiny side or the rough side, and this is just a premium roasted seaweed. Then what we're going to do, before we do this, we're checking on our sauce here. Just want to make sure we're going along. We're going to reduce the vinegar out until it's almost dry. Okay? So a little bit of cold water. We have a little bit of cold water. We have our nori sheet down there. We're going to take this. We're just going to take a handful of water and just kind of dampen it a little bit here. Nothing too excessive. Just enough to kind of soften up the seaweed. You can actually start smelling it after you put a little bit of water in it. Just a little bit of water to soften our skin there. And we have a 5-ounce piece of ahi tuna. And we're going to wrap that. So we're just going to fold it over. Pretty basic here. If we need more water, we can. But it should all just kind of glue itself together because it's going to be sticky. Okay. So we're trying to seal the whole thing completely in the roasted seaweed here. Okay. So as you guys can see, it pretty much just a little bit of water and it gets it sticky and it will seal itself pretty well there. So we have a nice piece of tuna there. And then now we're going to have our tempura batter, which is you just buy that tempura flour from the store and you add a little bit of water. So very, very simple. The hard part would probably be trying to get it the consistency that you want, because you don't want it too thick, you don't want it too thin. So it needs to be able to just really slurry off your spoon there. Okay. So it's a little bit runny. We'll probably say a touch runny, a touch loose than you would use for tempura shrimp or veggies or something. So we're just gonna go a little bit thinner than that. We have our Japanese breadcrumbs, panko. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we are going to dip our tuna in here gently. You just want to make sure it stays. The nori, the roasted seaweed stays shut and doesn't come apart on you while you're doing this. So you have to be a little gentle, but you also want to make sure it's fully coated in there. And then right into the panko. And you're just gonna press it up with the breadcrumbs here. Let me change my gloves out. So I made a little extra beer batter, there's no beer in there. I made a little extra tempura batter because I'm going to be making this for the restaurant tonight for the menu. So I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of that. But if you're using gloves, it gets kind of messy, so you want to change your gloves. That way you don't have tempura batter all over your fingers. Okay, and we're going to fry it rare, but only to our liking. So if you do like it a little bit more on the medium side, perhaps, I don't advise it doing it on the medium side, but if you had to, you're going to have to finish in the oven a little bit. But right now we're just looking to crisp up the outside, and you want to make sure that it's dry, that the outside is dry. So anything that has a little bit of batter on it, you want to cover it up with the panko. And really let the panko stick on there. Okay. So we have that ready to go. Take my gloves off again. So now we are going to fry our tuna. Oil probably needs another few seconds here. Okay, I just took a whiff of the vinegar reduction going on here. I almost had a cough real hard there. As you can see, it's all nice, and it's making a little bit of noise because it's running out of here. So that's our aji mirin. I'm only going to do about 1 cup as well of this. Okay. So we got our aji mirin there. We're going to crank it up here a little bit. So the mirin we're going to reduce by half. So not quite reduce full dry. We're just going to reduce by half. Feels like our pan is almost ready here. Next couple steps that we have going on in there that we'll be using is going to be the cream, heavy whipping cream, 36%, the soy, the horseradish, and the butter. So we're halfway there with our ingredients. We're just kind of waiting to reduce it again. And then for frying, if you're gonna pan fry, or if you have an air fryer, or perhaps an actual deep fryer at home, I would say deep fryer is the best way. But if you're gonna pan fry it, you want to make sure you use a steel pan. It retains the heat a little bit better. It's heavier, more sturdy, and it's nicer to fry. Okay. Just waiting for a little bit of panko in the pan just to kind of see where we're at on our temperature. So we're super close. We're going to stir our sauce a little bit in here. So I know we're calling it a bear block, but it's technically a cream-based sauce because we're going to stabilize it with a little bit of cream. So in that sense, it's a play on a bear block, but we're cheating a little bit because we're going to use cream to bind it a little bit. Okay. Okay, I think our pan is almost ready. We want to make sure that the oil is hot enough, because it'll be less greasy if we do it that way when we fry it. It shouldn't be super greasy anyway because we did seal it up fairly well with the nori and the batter and the breadcrumbs. Okay, we're going to gently place our tuna in there and let it fry up. So as soon as you put it in there, it kind of makes a little bubbly sound. That's a good thing. Oh, that vinegar. All right. Next up is going to be, I do want to take a quick taste on this. We're pan frying our tuna. We're shooting for rare, so we just want to golden brown it on the outside. Okay, our production is about halfway there. So at this point, I will add a little bit of cream. Let's do 2 cups of cream. And we're almost there with the sauce. We're going to have to reduce it by half. And let's do a couple of tablespoons of tamari. Okay. Stir it around a little bit. Okay, so our sauce is going to be a little tart, but it goes great with the tuna. So it's been about, 90 seconds on that side. We're going to flip it over. And get that nice brown there without really cooking the inside. Okay, and then we're going to add, while we're waiting on our tuna, we're going to add about a tablespoon of horseradish in there. Stir it around a little bit. So it's definitely not like, if you have chicken katsu, it usually comes with like a reddish, almost like a Japanese barbecue. We're doing a cream base, so this is a little bit different. So we're just getting the outside brown and crispy. I'll show you guys here in a minute. You can also do it at the sides if you'd like. You would have to kind of stand there and make sure it doesn't fall and splatter grease everywhere, but it's a nice little touch to get it all the way around. really just about 30 seconds on each side here. See exactly what I'm trying to say. Create that nice crispy crust that we're looking for. That is pretty much Katsu style. You know, you have that nice crispy breaded outside. And it's actually pretty much done here. We're just making sure it's golden brown all the way around it. Then we're gonna taste our sauce after that. All we have left to add is butter and perhaps more tamari. We're gonna taste it for a little bit of sodium there. Okay, and our katsu is done. You guys can see it's golden, nice and brown there. I'll bring it up for a close-up here in a minute. Okay. We have our buttercream sauce just kind of reducing along here. That would be a good time to try it. Just to kind of see if we need to add more horseradish because we're in the finishing touches of it. Excuse me. Careful when you're trying to inhale it because of all the vinegar and we just want to make sure it's got that ginger flavor, a little bit tart, and a little bit of that spice. Oh yeah. And it's got that vinegar right in front there. Which goes great with something fried because then it pretty much lightens it up a little bit. I am going to add another heaping tablespoon of tamari. So we ended up using about 3 tablespoons here. I just want to make sure it balances out the vinegar, you know. So we're kind of doing like a salty sour kind of deal here. Okay, and then our tuna can rest there for a few minutes while we're waiting for our sauce to get ready before we slice it. We have a nice plate here to just kind of play around with it. So at this point, we're just waiting for it. It's not going to be thick. It's going to be slightly thick, like a Juliet. It's going to be slightly thick. But it's not going to be like a Alfredo sauce or anything like that. You know, we're reducing the cream, so it's going to help it with the consistency. But we don't want it to be looking like Alfredo sauce. Okay, it looks like we're ready for our butter. So the butter is just going to help balance out the creaminess of the butter. Is going to help balance out the soy and the vinegar in there. It's actually a great combination. You know, vinegar or lemon, soy and butter. If you guys know a little bit of Japanese cuisine, you know that sounds like a little bit like a ponzu sauce, where it has lemon and soy. But if you add a little bit of butter to that, it adds a different dimension and a creamier dimension there. It balances it out. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put a nice tablespoon in our butter. Make sure we're stirring it around a little bit. And the other one here. And it's still simmering pretty nice. It's not rapid boiling, it's just a gentle simmer we got going on here. And we're gonna let it do that probably another 2-3 minutes just to kind of really get all the flavors incorporated there. We're gonna do a final check and see if we want to add more soy or more horseradish. So it's got a nice creamy tartness to it. I do think I will add a little bit more horseradish. Couple more minutes of simmering, we'll be ready for that. We're going to slice our tuna. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife for the tuna. And you don't have to cut off the ends. I like to use all of it if possible. So it went a little bit more on the medium rare side, but that's okay. We're going to put our sauce. We have this 1 ounce ladle. So as you guys can see, it's not super thick, but it's not like thin like water either. And it's pretty much ready there. When we use the ladle, we want to make sure we get a little bit of that ginger and the shallots in there. We're going to place our tuna right on there. Okay, and then we're going to garnish with a little extra cilantro. So again, this is something a little different. Probably more of the adventurous type. And I'm going to do a little close up here. Okay, let's see here. There we go. All right. So some of it's a little medium rare, some is a little rare. So, oops. There we go. Okay, there it is. So we got a little bit of a salty, creamy, slightly spicy sauce, a crunchy, crisp crust outside there with the nori. It looks really nice. The flavor is going to be delicious. And this is going to be served for this week with steamed cal roast rice and some seared, pan-seared baby bok choy. And that's it. It looks really nice, and I'm going to actually probably snack on this myself here. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you next week. Or I'm sorry, we'll see you 2 weeks from now. Thank you.